Hello and welcome to Nonsense Farm. This is the garden. It is mid-September and it is time to plant the fall garden. Here in Texas and in a lot of the country, it is possible to have a whole nother growing season in the fall. As a matter of fact, growing in the fall garden is a lot easier and a lot more pleasant than growing in the summer. For one thing, it's such a relief to have the weather cool off in the fall. Now, when you garden in the fall, you do need to start thinking about it at the tail end of when it is warm outside. You can't wait till it gets cool and then start, because you need to start your seeds and whatnot. Another advantage is that you can grow things in the fall that you can't grow in the winter, or in the summer rather. Like these beets. No way could I grow these during a Texas summer, but they'll grow for me great in the fall. Another advantage of fall gardening is that it rains more in the fall than it does in the summer. So it's easier to keep the garden watered. It's not the endless task that it is during the summer. Another thing is when you do water, since it isn't so hot, the moisture doesn't evaporate out of the soil quite so quickly. Another big advantage of having a fall garden as opposed to a summer garden, or in addition to having a summer garden, is that in the fall, there are a lot less bugs to contend with. Like these broccoli plants, if you plant them in the spring here, there's those cut worms, I think they call them, caterpillars, and they will just eat your plants up. The solution in the spring and summer is that you have to cover them up with netting so that the moths can't lay eggs on the underside of the leaves. But in the fall, you don't have to worry about that at all. You can just plant them and they'll grow big and strong and they'll be great. The lettuce that I just interplanted with this broccoli is another example of something that I can grow in the fall, but I wouldn't be able to grow in the summer or even really in the spring. Here in Texas, it gets hot so quickly that even if you start lettuce, you put it out right after the last frost, it gets hot so fast that that lettuce will bolt. But here in the fall, I can put it in now and it'll just be beautiful. In the fall, there's a lot less heat and humidity, which is part of what spreads fungal diseases on your plants also. So your plants are likely going to be very healthy, much healthier than in the summer garden. And because there's less watering pressure, less pest pressure, less disease pressure, it's just a lot more enjoyable and a lot less work. There's a lot of great reasons to have a fall garden. I've explained all the advantages of having a fall garden. Now let's talk about some of the mechanics of having a fall garden. So the first thing you need to do is you need to Google first frost and your zip code. When I Google it for here, it looks like the first frost in Dallas anyway is about November 20th. Out here in eastern Collin County, you know, it could happen a few days before that, but the normal first frost date would be November 20th. So that means where I'm sitting right now, I have probably a good 2 months of growing season left where I don't have to worry about frost. Even after that first frost date, when it's just a light frost, there are lots of plants that will do just fine until you get to a super hard freeze, which here in Texas, you probably won't see until, you know, late December, early January. So broccoli does really well in frost, peas do really well in frost, lots of other things you can cover with row covers, and that'll protect them from light frost. So there's lots of growing time left here in North Texas. So the first thing is to figure out how much time you have left. Then on your seed packets, it will tell you how many days approximately until that particular plant, from when you plant it to when you can harvest it. So if you have a choice, like for instance, I ordered some packs of cabbage seeds today, and I chose the one that was faster maturing because I wanted to give myself the best advantage. Another thing to understand about fall gardening is that it's a little bit of a gamble the closer you get to that frost date. But the thing is, if you never stick a seed in the ground, you're certainly never going to get any harvest. Another challenge about the fall garden is that most places where you get vegetable starts do not sell them during the fall. I was at Lowe's near my house this morning. Not only do they not have vegetable starts, but there was not a single vegetable seed to be had in the store. The only kind of seed they had that you could buy was grass seed. There are no seeds. So those cabbage seeds that I mentioned a minute ago, I had to order them online and pay for shipping for them to get to me. So that is something to consider when you're planting your fall garden. You might order those seeds along with your summer garden seeds. Or places here in town like North Haven Gardens, you probably have a garden center near you that does sell seeds during the fall, but just be aware that some of the places where you can buy seeds during the spring, you can't buy them during the fall. Also, since they do have seeds, y'all, sorry I keep getting so distracted, but there are so many butterflies. I'm looking at 2 butterflies right now over on the zinnias that I still have here. There was a hummingbird on this plant a little bit ago, and I don't think you can see it in the video, but there's so many bumblebees and different pollinators all over it. The garden is just amazing. So anyway, getting back to the seeds. Many things you can start just by sticking seeds in the ground, like root vegetables. They do better by just sticking seeds in the ground. You can't start them in a pot and then move them because that disturbs the root, and the root is the actual harvest. So you can't do that. But things like broccoli, cauliflower, lettuce, all those sorts of things, you can start them inside and put them outside, so they have a more protected beginning, so you'll have a greater success rate. So if you are willing to take on starting seeds, then you're going to have to start them yourself for a fall garden, because you're not going to be able to get very many plants from your normal places, Lowe's, Home Depot, things like that. So let's review what I've got currently going on in my fall garden. I have 7 beds that are empty because I'm still starting cabbage, broccoli, cauliflower, lettuce seeds, and I'm going to be moving them out into these empty beds over the coming weeks because I still have time. What I have going so far, I've got garlic here, I've got beets here, carrots, these are sweet potatoes, there is lima beans, I've still got loofah on the vine over there, I've got some herbs, I've got broccoli and lettuce, and I've got some fall tomatoes going over there. And then over there in the in-ground garden, I'm about to put in some squash just as an experiment. Oh, and in a bed right there, I've got peas, and I'll be putting peas over in that outdoor garden as well. All right, I hope this has inspired you to start a fall garden. I wish you luck with it. I would love to see any questions you have in the comments, and let's get out in the garden.